there's some new things going.
Got
a little locals, and we're new on the Rumble space here. So
yeah.
Let's go 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to another episode of Persuasion by the Pint. I'm Jonathan Taylor, along with
Sean McCool.
Sean, we've got a wonderful flight of persuasion today, and we're featuring some new channels. We got some Rumble action going today. Our first time we've added the Rumble platform to our streaming.
I have no idea what these platforms are. Never been on them.
Rumble's competing with YouTube. I don't think they got a shot, but they're they seem to be growing.
Maybe they'll take all TikTok's users when that goes away.
I think Rumble brands themselves as the place to not get censored if you're putting out content. So I don't think we have to worry about getting any of our videos shut down on Rumble. And then we have locals. We've had a small platform on locals, or a small following on locals for a period of time, but we've never done anything with it. And so I figured out this past week you can actually stream to locals. So to anybody that's seeing us on locals, hello. We've never posted anything in 3 years, and now all of a sudden we're doing that. So
cutting edge.
You
wanted to let the platform mature a little bit, before
that's right.
Just start dropping stuff on there.
That's right. Yeah, we got like 50 people that are followers or members.
It's pin up demand. It's very intentional. Very pin up demand.
Yeah, that's right. So we've got a smorgasbord, so to speak, and we're going to be talking about this new Apple ad that's dropped.
Apple's best worst ad ever.
The best worst ad. It got people talking, that's for sure. And
so we'll analyze that one a little bit. We'll be talking about customer acquisition secrets of the Chinese zoo. That one's
of the Chinese zoo.
Yeah,
Chinese zoos.
We go worldwide for our content here. All right, this is not
zoos or Zeus. Zoos.
Yeah, Zeus.
Is this
zoos.
Mini zoos? Is this plural zoos?
No, I think it's just one zoo.
Okay. Gotcha.
I don't know which one exactly.
All right.
But they have a history of these tactics that we'll talk about.
Okay.
So
I like it.
And then we'll have a little lesson in human psychology, or maybe just weird human thinking. I'm not sure which.
Yes.
Little survey I ran across, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Interesting.
See if we can figure out what's going on.
Cool.
From cognitive bias standpoint there, or what's going on, why these people who took this survey seem to have lied at the end.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What, people actually lied on a survey?
Yeah. I don't know. I think they told the truth at the end. Okay. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird survey. So it'll be,
gotcha.
It'll be a good exercise to pull it apart. I think I know what's going on, but it'll be fun to pull it apart with our listeners.
Fantastic.
And you're going to talk about a chapter from a book you're reading.
Yeah. Carmen Simon, who is Impossible to Ignore. We talked about her. That's one of her previous books we've mentioned in the past. She's got a brand new book out called Made You Look. And it is super interesting because I love it because it's all based on cognitive science and brain activity. And, they do all it's
not to be confused. Yeah, which is not to be confused with the subhead of Donnie's book from last week, which was
I know.
Wasn't
that a coincidence? Yeah, because I actually that was part
in the air.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about. She's got a specific chapter in there. I'm just getting into the book, so I haven't read the whole thing, but there's a chapter in there on overcoming boredom, and I thought it's really interesting. And the whole premise is, I'll just leave you hanging. So we'll get to our beer now.
There we go. All right. Well, I'm having the same thing I had last week because I bought a 4-pack and I had 2 left still. So just for reminders, for those people that were on vacation at the beach last week and didn't tune in, shame on you. It's a peanut butter, caramel chocolate, peanut butter hazelnut caramel chocolate cake stout. I don't think they could fit anything else in the can.
Can't.
Or they would have
nothing left
to go on cinnamon or something on there. I don't know, or some I don't know.
I actually remember your score from last week.
So do I.
Yeah.
Since we did back-to-back weeks, if we had gone one more week, I wouldn't have remembered. But so yeah, mine's poured. So what do you have it on your end?
So I have I've already poured mine, but I've got a nice, this is a new one. We've had Samuel Adams, their chocolate. Some of their others.
Smith, not Samuel Adams.
Oh, Samuel. Did I say Samuel Adams?
You did. Wrong Samuel.
Dang it. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to insult the English Samuel.
Yeah.
This is their new oatmeal snout, or it could be a stout too.
Yeah.
This is a oatmeal stout, 5%. Not great on the ABV, kind of minimal.
Yeah, for a stout, yeah.
But this is brewed with well water. It's not using any tap water out there. This is straight from a deep well, 85 foot underground, fermented in the stone Yorkshire squares.
That's a nice little copy element right there, right?
Yeah, that's right.
They could have.
You know what? That's a great example of the old Slits ad. every brewmaster's out there screaming, "Yeah, we use wells too." You didn't say it. You didn't say it. So, in Yorkshire squares to create an almost opaque, wonderfully silky and smooth textured ale with complex medium dry, with a complex and medium dry palate and bittersweet finish. Okay, we'll see.
All right. So is it a stout or is it an ale? It's a stout. It says oatmeal stout. So, okay.
Yeah, that's weird because
I guess a stout is an ale, but an ale is not necessarily, or what's that? How's that work in like geometry, right? A square is a rectangle is a square, but a square is not necessarily a rectangle.
Do not bring me back to algebra or geometry or whatever.
I don't know which one that was, but yeah. So
yeah,
I would say a stout is an ale, but an ale is not necessarily a stout.
Yes, I'll agree with you.
All right. Let's cheers it up.
All right, let's cheers. Wait, let me get my clinking going. There we go. Got so much stuff going here on the desk.
Yep. Yep, just as good as last week. Maybe better.
What? Can you give it a different rating?
Sure. It's a different week. Why not? No, but I did let it air out a little bit more than last time. And these peanut butter stouts, especially the peanut butter stouts, I found that you have to let them air out in the glass a little while.
Yeah.
Kind of like a good, dark red wine. They do a little better once they air out.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm gonna go up a point to a 4.9. I think I did 4.8 last week, right?
Oh, I thought you did. I thought for some reason I was thinking it was a 4.9, but you might be right. It was a 4.8.
Well, then it might
You're just not going to give in, and
I'm not going to do the 5.0. Can't do it.
Right. I was getting ready to hit that
button. Close, but it's not quite there. So, how about yours?
I'm going to give mine it's very good. I'm going to give mine a 4.6.
Cool.
4.6.
Yeah, Sammy Smith, he's done a good job on his beers.
Oh, terrific. I think that to me, this is probably the best of the series, if I can recall the chocolate.
Yeah.
It's a very, I don't know. It's just really good on the palate.
I think we had Sam Smith on like first 10 episodes somewhere in there.
Yes.
I remember having it in your office there. So
that's right. Because you always know it's Sam Smith. They got the bottle. Look at that fancy gold.
And the very specific type of bottle, old school style bottle. It's good marketing.
Yeah, it is.
Got a brand look to it for sure.
I almost feel like I need to be, wearing a tuxedo or something as I drink this.
Instead of a t-shirt and a hat.
That's right.
You're wearing that hat out, by the way.
Oh, I know. It's my favorite. It fits the best, and I like it. So I will probably wear this until, you start to. It's gonna be hard to see the grease stains on the blue. That's why I got it. So
yeah, exactly. Until the salt starts coming through.
That's right. Which will happen in the summer because I got this one. I think I got this one after the summertime. So
when that summer sweat salt comes through, it'll have a nice little Salt Mountain line to it.
That's right.
So,
see, for you new listeners on Rumble, if there are any, or watchers on Rumble and locals, we get into all sorts of stuff, juvenile talk and juvenile beer talk and
hats
and
all kinds of stuff.
Just yeah, we keep it low brow as much as possible.
Well, it's to keep people from getting bored, hopefully.
That's right.
So there's your segue.
That's right. See, that's a lesson. Boredom. How to escape boredom. You got to change things up.
Yeah.
Don't just feed them. Don't just feed them education all the time. You got to be stupid sometimes too, right?
Right. Yeah. Tell bad jokes.
That's right.
That's what the skip button's for if they don't like it.
Exactly. Move forward. So where do we want to start? Do we want to start with the book?
I think so. I think we'll do the book first. Okay. And we can do rapid fire, the kind of the last 3 things.
Okay.
We got 4 things total, right? Yeah.
So let me go through, because I'm going to go real quick on the title of the book is Made You Look, and I'm going to share the screen here from a section because this is on Kindle. I actually ordered the hard copy. I love the there's a hard copy of the book, but it's like 2 weeks out, so I don't know what the deal is there. I couldn't wait. I'm so impatient.
Reshare your screen again. There you go.
There we go. So this is, again, the title of the book is it's Simon Carmen. Carmen Simon. Yeah, Carmen Simon. I get there. I don't know why. It must be dyslexia there. The title is Made You Look, How to Use Brain Science to Attract Attention and Persuade Others. So she's got a section on this, and the title is Overcoming Boredom, which I find it fascinating. What's so interesting about this, Sean, the psychology of boredom, engaging the brain on a level beyond flash. So a lot of what she's talking about this is she does a lot of work with companies who are putting together slide decks for presentations, corporate presentations, people that are, pitching those big investors out there in Silicon Valley, she's working with the big wigs. So, it's inevitable. I mean, it's imperative that, her flash, the flash, the screen or the slides that she puts up, really engage, and people don't get bored on those. And what's interesting is a lot of her stuff she does, and we've seen these before on websites where people put like heat maps. They can measure like the audience, where their attention is going, so you can see visually what they're looking at. And you can measure that. Where's their attention drawn to? And you can kind of gather. And one of the things she talks about is boredom. Why do we get bored? Sean, why do you think we get bored during a presentation? Why does our mind wander?
Well, I would think because a lot of presentations don't have good imagery. It's just words. So it's effort to read. That would be my first guess. And it's big chunks. So it looks like a lot of effort, so you don't even want to do it. So then if you're not engaged, your brain goes to sleep or starts going somewhere else.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. So I've got it highlighted. You're absolutely right. So what neuroimaging studies show is that dopamine releases, the dopamine release happens when people engage in constant attention shifts, such as, for instance, playing a video game. That's why kids, teenagers are young people of all ages, actually. Nowadays, it goes up into your 50s playing video games. But it's the constant shift of attention during that game playing. And if you remove the stimuli, you stop providing those rewards. So that's kind of where we are as in 2024, where all of our brains have been accustomed to some type of reward for doing something. Whether it's scrolling, you think about scrolling through Reels or TikToks or, Instagram, you name it. Yep. We're constantly shifting our attention. It's changing. There's a constant shift in the stimuli that you're getting. So you'll see one little clip and then you flip it up and you see something completely new. And that's actually addictive. I mean, that's why people keep scrolling. I mean, they're constantly scrolling on the phones. I mean,
yeah,
we talked
about
that.
Could you repeat that? I kind of lost track where you're at. I was getting bored.
Yes. Let's have a beer. Why don't we do a toast? We'll kind of shift things up.
No, you know what it made me think of as soon as you said that was, I just looked it up. But there's this idea in filmmaking or a type of video editing that every 4 seconds you change the frame on the screen, right? So it's
Yes.
like you
Right.
do a jump cut or you change the angle slightly or, whatever, like expand, contract the
Absolutely.
screen.
Right.
And I've done that before at a movie, and or a current TV show. And if you go back 20 or 30 years, that's why a lot of the kids don't like the older movies, is because they don't change the film angle for,
No,
2 or 3 minutes
absolutely.
at a time
Right.
sometimes,
Yep.
So yeah, so
My
that
kids, yeah, my kids watch these old movies and it's like the same. You're absolutely right. The
it's
angle
just
of
too
the
slow for them.
camera, it's just too slow for them. They're looking
Yeah.
for a shift. Something's got to happen,
Yeah. But yeah,
Dialogue is
if you go to a current movie or even a current, well done TV show, you can sit there and count 1, 2,
mhm,
3, 4 screen changes. Something changes something major like changes on the screen. Even if it's the same person, they'll pan in, pan out,
yep.
all that kind of stuff. Change dialogue, characters, like all that. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. So the threshold for stimulation has increased. So in order, and I see this all the time from a corporate standpoint, and in doing slide presentations, or you do a overview. If I go to even if I do a Teams or a virtual meeting with a large client, and I've got 3 or 4 people from their engineering team or something like that, and I'm doing a presentation, my goal is to, get, like, I try to mix things up. I'm not trying to just produce data. Like, even for engineers, as funny as that sounds, they're not just looking for data. They need something, because people bored, they'll wonder. And I noticed this. I don't know if you've ever noticed in a presentation, if you're giving a presentation, it can throw you off if you start looking at people and they're looking like looking away from the
Checking their
screen.
text.
Yes, checking their text and looking, and you can start to watch the eyes wander. Then you've got to start moving on. That's kind of your cue within the
Yeah.
presentation to kind of move forward. So
And
the
that's
key
why
is,
I'm curious what she says, but just looking at the slides you had up there before,
yeah,
they're very image heavy with like one bullet point, whereas,
yes,
10 years ago, you might have had people, in bad PowerPoints today,
yeah,
people would have like 6 bullet points on one slide and read through all of them with no images, right? It's just,
yes,
oh, that's just like death, you
yeah,
know? Um,
absolutely.
but yeah,
And as
so
little, and she talks about like adding as little, keeping it um not as complex, keeping it easy to read, but also mixing in some curiosity, because our brains aren't overloaded, they're just understimulated. That's the problem. So it's like we attribute a lot of stuff, like our brains are overloaded, so that's why we don't remember things.
mhm.
But I think the problem is that in our challenge, in our marketing, as she states, is that a lot of times we're not challenging our prospects or our customers when we're giving a presentation. We're not giving them an opportunity to think. So how do you include challenge segments in business content? What do you think?
Questions.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
I would start with questions.
Yes.
Maybe
Questions are perfect.
startling statistics.
Yes. Yep.
Trying to think of my headline tricks, basically.
No, those are great. Those are actually dead on. Startling statistics is a big one because it gets people to think.
Right.
Sobering statistics tied to messages. Obviously, you want to tie them, not just random statistics. But yeah, you're right.
I'm not sure what else.
What about? So you mentioned questions.
Yep.
What about things that make you, that kind of challenge, not so much questions, but kind of riddles, right?
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, creating riddles within your slides or your presentations. So I think about like the complexities. So the challenge is creating messages that aren't too hard, but they're also not too easy that you get super bored.
Right.
So how do you make them that are just right in the middle? And I think of specific ads. I went to because I was thinking about this as I was going through the chapter, and I went to ChatGPT, and I was like, let's pull up some famous ads that kind of use a little bit of complexity, but kind of make you think.
Yeah.
And what do you think the one ad of all ads? I asked it to give me 5 ads. What do you think the one that was at the top of the list was? Just take a wild guess.
I don't know
In terms of curiosity, it made you really think, like really.
But you mentioned one before the show, so I don't know if I'm cheating by going with that one. But the one that came to my mind before I remembered you saying that was Think Different from Apple.
Yes.
But then you also said before the show, you said Think Small from Volkswagen.
Think Small is the one that was number 2. So here's the top 5. The 1984 at the very top of the list is the 1984 ad. I probably should have given you the 5 first. Number 1 is the 1984 ad from Ridley Scott. He says the 1984 commercial was shown during the Super Bowl and introduced the Macintosh computer.
Yeah, so that's the Think Different ad, right?
Yeah,
the crazy ones ad.
Yes, the depicted the dystopian future inspired by Orwell's novel. So, so yeah, I mean that. Yeah, so that was like,
yes, got it
right. You got it. Number 2, Volkswagen Think Small, as we talked about. Think Small campaign. This ad for the Beetle used minimalist style. If you've never, you can just Google that ad with the Think Small. Minimalistic design, but clever copy to challenge consumer norms. So again, that's another. You said questions. You said statistics, or things that really make people think. Also challenging the norms. Throwing something that's kind of off the wall against our natural way of thinking, urging them to appreciate simplicity and efficiency. So yeah, that was like. And it was very simplistic. If you pull up the ad, Think Small campaign.
Yeah, got it right there.
Dove Real Beauty sketches. I don't think I remember this one. Do you remember this? 2013.
Yes. Yeah, that's when they first started getting into the the multiple, different size and types of bodies.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That's who kicked that whole thing
That's
off.
right. That's right. Yes.
Now that's super common. Like everybody does that now.
Everybody's doing that.
So now that's boring, right? Because now everybody's doing it. And we talk about this with, breakthrough advertising, Eugene Schwartz's stuff. The market awareness, the market sophistication, I guess is what that would be.
Yes.
Now that everybody's doing it, now it's got to go back to something different, right?
Yes.
And you've kind of seen that happen with, there are some brands that are starting to go back to, I think even Victoria's Secrets are like, yeah, we're bringing back the angels because that worked.
that was a disaster.
Yeah. But they were trying to play into that same thing,
of course,
right? But it's a different brand, different market, all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Number 4 is the Old Spice. The man your man could smell like. This was back in 2010. So Old Spice redefined their brand with a humorous and surreal ad campaign featuring Isaiah Mustafa as the Old Spice man. Do you remember this, Sean?
I do.
2010. Okay. Yep. The ad's rapid fire delivery and seamless transition showcase a creative use of wit and charm.
Yeah, it was kind of that style of ad, kind of like the Dollar Shave Club,
Yes. Yeah, that was good. That's a great
kind of ad, that kind of style. But what was so cool about the Old Spice ad was that at that time, Old Spice was like your grandfather's like cologne, right?
Yeah. Like exactly.
That's the only person.
Yeah, that's like an insult to know.
I remember that being on my dad's nightstand or dresser or kitchen. What's that word? Bathroom. Yeah, bathroom counter. Good Lord.
Don't say medicine cabinet, and then you would be old.
Then I would be old. Yeah. But it was in like a fake tusk or something, right?
Yeah.
And you pulled the top off and splashed it on your hands, and like you could smell it for 6 days afterwards. If he made you breakfast, you could taste it in the breakfast because it was all over his hands. It didn't have a spray bottle. It was like you dump it in your hand and like,
rub it on,
it
come in like that white bottle, that weird looking.
It was like shape. A tusk or something, a horn or antler or something.
I've never thought about that. That's actually good. Like it does look like a tusk.
Yeah, I think that's what it's supposed to be, a bone of some kind. All right.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. That makes me want to go buy a bottle. Does the bottle still look like that?
I don't think so.
Oh, damn. I actually still use, and I don't buy my own deodorant, but I have Old Spice deodorant. So I think that's actually a trendy thing now. Maybe.
Look at you.
I don't know. It just smells good. Yeah. Lastly, topping out the top 5 is the Hilltop, the "I'd like to buy the world of Coke" ad. It featured a diverse group of people on a hilltop in Italy singing about peace and harmony.
When did that come out? 70s, 75,
71.
71. Okay. Oh.
Here's an interesting little tit. Yeah, that was a good year. The famous Sean McCool entered this world. No, I was watching, I really love Mad Men, and I talk about it. Yeah. But I finished the series, and I hate to give it away, but at the very end, the last episode of the series of Mad Men features the famous Coca-Cola Hilltop ad. So, and there's
I don't think it's a spoiler when it's been off the air for like 10 years. I think you're safe.
It's a spoiler if you haven't seen it, though.
Yeah,
right.
But that's your own fault. Like, there's a grace period on spoilers. Like,
okay,
you're fine.
All right. Okay. Well, it's on the last episode. You go straight to it. You may not want to watch 8 seasons or whatever. 8 seasons. So you can go right.
I love that ad. That was a great ad. And they still play it from time to time, like at Christmas and some of those times. Every once in a while they'll pull it out. But that was a good ad.
Yeah, it was. It was
had nothing to do with the product, really.
Nothing.
They don't talk about taste. They don't talk about calories or not. Like, it was just pure smile.
What do you think was it about? I mean, it was so this says here it was an idealistic portrayal of unity through Coke, became the anthem of goodwill, and is remembered as one of the most positive and uplifting ads in television history. That's probably why you like it, Sean. It's
so again, positive. Put that in context. Now, I don't remember it when it came out. I mean, I was a smart baby, but not that smart. But or maybe I do. Like subliminally, it's like in there. But like, if you think about it, though, we were still coming out of Vietnam.
That's true. Yeah,
and there was a lot of conflict.
The 60s were just upheaval. Yeah,
the end of the 60s, early 70s, we had oil embargoes. We had all kinds of stuff going on. So I think a lot of the ones you just mentioned and what you're saying about this chapter in the book it's really like contrast, right? It's like what's the main media, what's the main talk or the main feeling in the market.
Yep.
And then how can you kind of go counter to that?
Because
that's going to be the thing that really gets attention is if everybody's saying A and you come up and you say, no, Q, then it just stands out automatically.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I didn't think about that at first, but you talking about this coming after the 60s, because you're right, man. We had Vietnam. Think about that. We had a president that was shot, and then another one that was running, his actual brother that was shot. Then Martin Luther King.
And that was
shot.
Early 60s, but I mean, I think this, 1971. That would have been. Interest rates are about what they are now, 7.5%. Yeah. All kinds of stuff. Yeah. 71. Vietnam.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were still in the war a little bit. Yeah. Troops continued operations against North Vietnamese People of Army. So that was still lingering at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So to talk about unity and with all the anti-war stuff going on and protests and things like that would definitely have a good
was a nice change. Yeah, for sure.
Yep. What else you got in that chapter?
So I'll conclude it. Here's in summary and I recommend anybody go out and grab this book because it's like, so far it's really good. I'm into like this, the 5th or 6th chapter. This chapter, it's number 4 on boredom, really caught my attention. But there's a paragraph at the end says Joseph Brodsky, the winner of the 1987 Nobel Prize for Literature, delivered a commencement address at Dartmouth College back in 1984. Interesting enough, that's when the Apple ad came out. He warned students that the amount of boredom that they had experienced because of teachers would be minimal compared to the amount of boredom they would experience as adults. He cautioned that escaping boredom would be a constant effort involving a frequent change of jobs, locations, wives, lovers, interests. In a philosophically sad way, Brodsky concluded that boredom would teach a valuable lesson, the lesson of your utter insignificance. However, he reminded graduates that this knowledge of insignificance leads to a sense of mortality, which leads to a sense of passion and purpose. So with each message you deliver, you're not adding to a repository of information. You can touch people's lives and inspire them. For example, boredom is alleviated when people can answer these 3 things. Do I have a clear purpose? Do I have autonomy? And do I have mature relationships? So
I don't know. I have a little bit of disagreement with that because I don't think people are bored. I don't know if people are bored enough these days. Because I think there's always something to fill the time. I guess you could still be bored. I guess it's what you said earlier. It's the understimulated. Like you're looking at a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. But man, look at that. Locals already kicked us off. They were so bored. Little note just popped up.
We're bored. You're done.
Your audition has failed.
I think we have a streaming limit there. So
yeah. Oh, okay. 30-minute streaming limit or something.
Yeah.
That's just going to leave them wanting more.
That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I actually think that, like, I don't hear kids today as much say they're bored, even though they are. They don't, like you and I, when we were growing up in the 80s, like we always said, like the worst thing you could say to your parents was, I'm bored. Because what would they say?
Well, I've got something for you to do.
Exactly. Are you bored? Okay. And you learned real quick, do not say I'm bored, because that meant chores. It meant something, right? That you're going to have to do. So today kids they don't say it, but they're just like constantly on their phone, constantly on, whatever.
Right.
But I think it's kind of understimulated with quality stuff around those 3 things you just said. It's probably
I think
more what's going on. I think we need a little more intentional boredom in our lives. Like just sitting around a campfire in the woods with nothing else to do. Like that kind of boredom.
Yeah. I mean, you could call that boredom, Sean, but some may say that's the opposite of boredom, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a change of pace. It's just change of their.
Yeah, I don't think it's boring, but a lot of people looking in would say it's boring.
Yeah.
To me, it's relaxing, but
it's super relaxing. Yeah. I'd love to be sitting by a campfire in the mountains. So,
yeah. All right. Well, let's, anything else from that?
Nope. That's it. Get the book. We'll probably discuss it more. And I'm trying to get, Carmen to join us on the show. So we'll see. It may take some time. This book just came out like last week. I think it was last week. So it's like
she may be on a tour right now.
She's making her rounds. Yes.
Yeah. We'll just name drop some of our guests.
There you go. Yeah.
Donnie Bryant.
Yep.
Whatever.
That's right. Donnie Bryant. Yeah. Donnie Bryant, man. Come on.
Yeah. All right. So imagine this, Jonathan. Imagine you're bored and you're looking for something to do with the kids, right? And you see an ad from the zoo.
Okay.
Right. The Knoxville Zoo. They're like, hey, we've got panda dogs. Come see our panda dogs.
Come see them. Yeah.
You're like, oh, cool. A new race of pandas. Is it like a trash panda, a red panda, a panda dog? Right. Cool. Yeah. Well, that's what the old Chinese zoo did. Oh. And when people got there, what they saw was
Paints
This.
dogs.
They discovered that these panda dogs were actually chow chows painted to look like pandas.
Yeah. False advertising there.
Yeah. So I pulled this kind of tongue in cheek, like,
it does look unique though.
It does. I mean, it is interesting. I mean, they just use like hair dye apparently. But these are just like regular chow chow dogs. But apparently the zoos in China, this is not their first time doing stuff like this. Of course, they said that it wasn't deceiving, although most people said it was. And I think it definitely leans that.
This reminds me of anything that you buy that comes out of China that's like,
So check this out. A member of the zoo staff said on WeChat at the time, our zoo is government run, so that kind of situation would not happen. Speaking of deception and stuff. Okay. Yeah. That makes it okay. So apparently in 2010, they bought 4 chow chows and a golden retriever dyed to resemble a tiger.
That's great. How is that?
In 2008, in 2018,
you're in Asia. How hard is it to get a tiger?
I know, right? Well, apparently it's not just a Chinese thing. In Egypt in 2018, they denied it had painted donkeys to look like zebras, but apparently that they had.
Wow.
So be careful, people, when you're out visiting zoos and you hear about a new, not even exotic, but that your zoo got a new animal.
Yeah.
They could have just got some cheap spray paint.
That's right.
So so the lesson here is obviously there's not like a persuasion lesson. Basically that's like real
classic
life
Barnum tactics.
Yeah, it's like real life clickbait. It's like, don't do that. Like people are not going to be happy when you do that. So
person with
let's I just thought that was funny when I saw it. I thought that was just kind of funny.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the Apple ad that just came out.
Oof. Yeah.
Now, first of all, let's put some context. So there's a new iPad ad out because the new iPad, interesting that right before this ad came out, there was a lot of like really positive talk about the new iPad because it's got like an
super thin. It's the thinnest one, right?
It's thin. It's got like a new M4 chip or A4 chip, whatever Apple's chips are. That's like designed to work with AI better and like all kinds of stuff. Really powerful. So like all the techies are impressed with the basic features.
Okay.
Well, then Apple released its ad. I'm going to put it on the screen. I don't know if we'll be able to hear it or not.
Well, just the visuals, as long as we can see it.
Yeah, but our podcast listeners won't be able to see it. But so go check out our podcast listeners. You can it's on YouTube. You can check it out after the show. Let's see. Let me press play. So it's a giant like platform, and then the top of the platform starts coming down. It starts crushing a trumpet that is on top of like a soundboard and a piano and video game.
Space Invaders game just kills my heart when I see that happening.
Paint. The piano's getting crushed. Everything's getting crushed. The metronome gets crushed. Yeah, then they start putting like little figurines and stuff in there, things with faces, which is I think where they went wrong.
Yeah.
Things are blowing up. Things are splattering. Camera lenses are getting shattered. Books are getting squished and blowing up. Stress balls.
This is the straw right here, right?
The stress ball with and then like the whole hydraulic press clamps down, but when it comes up, what's left is the thinnest iPad ever.
Yeah.
Now I think it actually makes a cool point at the end.
Yeah.
Like all this stuff is inside your iPad. Like I kind of get that, right?
Yeah.
But man, people did not like this ad.
Yeah.
So you go to Tim Cook's this Apple CEO, go to his X account.
Okay.
There's 57 million views on it. So I don't think we can call this ad a failure by any stretch, because anytime you get 57 million eyes on an ad for free,
and it's being talked about and shared and discussed.
Yeah, I mean, it's being featured on one of the best podcasts in the history of the universe now.
Exactly.
And that you can't buy that kind of press. I mean,
No, you can't.
We would probably sell a space, but
we're not getting paid either.
Yeah. Even check this out. Even Brenda Bouchard got in on the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
He said, art is symbolism. When you destroy it, you send a message. I love Apple, but it's beyond my imagination. They've become so isolated. They thought this was a good idea.
Well, and everybody that's being contrary, there's a reason behind it,
Well, yeah, I mean, you want to comment on a post that's got 57 million views, first of all, right? And are you going to go with, but it's overwhelmingly, here's one: crushing symbols of human creativity and cultural achievements to appeal to pro creators. Nice. Maybe for the next Apple Watch Pro, you should crush sports equipment, show a robot running faster than a man, then turn to the camera and say, God is dead and we have killed him.
Wow.
Like, bro, chill out.
It's just a piano, man. Come on.
How about this one? 40 years ago, Apple released the 1984 commercial as a bold statement against the dystopian future. Now you are that dystopian future. Oof. Ouch.
That's pretty good. I like that one.
Now, this one was interesting. This guy took a little bit better approach. Yeah. He didn't just come with a problem. He came with a solution.
Yeah.
He said, I think the ad would work much better if it was reversed. All the objects should be expanding out of the iPad rather than being crushed into it.
Yes. I like that too.
Yeah. And I was like,
yeah, because right. I mean, that's, there's got to be a way to get your point. I get the point. We've always talked about, you don't need a camera anymore. Yeah. You don't need this anymore. You don't need that anymore. Everything is in your phone now. So, but there's got to be a better way to convey all that without just destroying it.
Yeah, because Meredith, she said, iPad crushes the soul of humanity. That's the title of the ad for her. Everything beautiful, charming, and analog will be destroyed by a flat black screen. You must never see a sculpted bust, never hear music from an actual instrument, never feel the texture of real things. A silicon slab and Tim Cook will permanently stand between us and the world.
Demonic version. What is that? Everything. What does it say?
Demonic version. You say, just imagine all the things it'll be used to create, but the video shows 1,000 beautiful things being destroyed.
That's right.
And that's where the dissonance is, right? It's like you're talking.
Oh, and look at that. This ad effectively convinced me I need less technology in my life.
Yes. Crushing obsolete creativity.
Like, who this offends most are the artists out there.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
And those are the people that they've been marketing to for years. Like those are the brand. Those are the early adopters, the people that were the artists, the designers. And those are the ones that they've just offended the most.
Yeah. Everybody's like terrible. Yeah. Like, worst Apple ad ever. Blah, like did the Taliban make this? It's just like,
yeah. Somebody even said, I hate Steve Jobs. He's been dead for like 12 years.
No, he said, I miss. He said,
I miss. Okay.
Yeah. I miss Steve Jobs.
I miss Steve Jobs. Yes, we all do.
Yeah. Like, and this one too, like this is almost literally the exact opposite of the 84 ad.
Very much so. Yeah.
So quite interesting.
You can see those same people marching out are the ones that's pulling the lever on the press, right?
Yeah. Right. It's like, it does make you wonder, like, how does it get through, the 37 meetings that had to happen for this ad to get produced, both from the ad agency and internally at Apple. Like, there's probably, I don't know, maybe there was a focus group, maybe there wasn't. But it's like, wow, how can you,
well,
but
but
we're talking about it. Right. And
maybe that was discussed. This is going to create some backlash, but you know what? People are going to be yelling and screaming and talking about it and conversing, and they'll still conversations. Yeah, exactly.
Because
they'll be talking about it on a podcast.
Because what people say and what people do are not the same thing.
That's right. Yep.
And they probably have looked at behavior when they've had flawed products, and they're like, you know what, people still buy it. So what we need to do is we just need to let everybody know it exists. And this ad will definitely do that.
It does. Yeah.
Now, whether they expected that much backlash, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's one of those things like it's a Bud Light situation where it's going to cause a boycott of product.
Nope.
I don't see that conversation going on in the X thread.
No.
It's just like, poor taste kind of thing. But yeah, I'll still buy it. It's probably what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. You should have done it differently, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to that was awful, and the people behind this were, I know what their agenda is, blah, blah, blah. So there's no agenda.
Yeah.
It was probably people think it's in poor taste, but the bottom line is it's better to be in this position than no one talking about it and like,
yeah, it's like,
I don't even remember it. What did it say?
Yeah.
I'd say this is the best ad since the I'm a Mac and I'm a PC. What do you think?
I think
in terms of attention, in terms of people talking,
in terms of attention, it's probably one of their best ads ever. I mean, that and the 84 ad, but the 84 was released at the Super Bowl. So you think about this is an off-season ad released, like I haven't even seen it on TV yet. Like it's just been, it's just blowing up on social media. Yeah. So to think that, they didn't even have a Super Bowl spot and they're getting this much attention from it, from an attention standpoint, it's definitely one of the top ads.
Yeah.
From a goodwill standpoint, it's a terrible ad.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if they pull it. But now that it lives on YouTube, it'll be there forever. So, and it'll be discussed in marketing classes from now on. It'll be.
I don't think it'll be pulled. I don't think that. I think they're getting too many clicks and shares.
Yeah, they won't pull it.
There's no such thing as bad publicity anymore. There's only publicity.
Yeah.
They'll move on and I mean, you saw this past week, they just bought back a huge chunk of their own stock. I mean, so they're pretty confident that.
Well, unfortunately, like so far from what I've heard from the tech reviewers and stuff, the product is much, much better than the ad. So that will be good. Like if the product had sucked and it didn't really have any great upgrades, the new chip wasn't good. It was, nothing. You might be having a different conversation about that.
Yeah.
But if it's a great product and the attention gets people to go look at it, even while they're standing there and you can just see somebody right in the Apple store, they're sitting there looking at it, thinking about buying it.
Yeah.
The Apple genius is next to them. They're like, I hated the ad for this. I thought it was stupid. Right.
Yep.
Here's my
I'll go buy a Galaxy.
Here's my credit card.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I bet if you asked a month from now or whenever it comes out, like I bet if you asked all the Apple geniuses, like how many times they've heard that while people were handing them their credit card, it would just blow your mind.
Oh yeah, of course,
because people are going to keep buying, because this is like the first major iPad update in a while. So all right, one last thing that I found just absolutely hilarious. I'm not going to put this on the screen. I'm just going to kind of walk through it. Well, I will in a minute, but I want to walk through it first. So I was going through my charter newsletter, which, they always have nice charts and stuff like that. And there was this thing about job satisfaction. And the title says job satisfaction improves ... for no good reason. So in this job satisfaction survey, they asked people to rate 26 different aspects of their jobs.
Okay.
And apparently they do this yearly. So this was 2023 versus 2022. So there's things like commute to work, physical environment, potential for growth, supervisor, people, quality of equipment, leadership, work-life balance, job security, vacation, blah, blah, just, all the things that go into making a place a good place to work or like your job or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of the 26 things that they asked about were negative, like they had gone down over the last year.
Oh, wow.
Bonus plan anywhere from negative 7.6% drop to a negative 0.2% drop. But every single one of them was negative, except the final question on the survey. The final question on the survey was overall satisfaction, and it went up 0.4%.
Wow.
So how does like this is why marketing is hard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So every single category that makes up the overall satisfaction score was negative.
Was negative. Terrible.
But people said overall they're more satisfied with their job.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
This is why marketing is tough. And so
reminds me of that book, Predictably Irrational, that
yeah, exactly.
We as consumers or people out there that as human beings in general, we are schizophrenic. Yes. Completely.
Yeah. So here's what, the little caption below the picture says: workers say they like their job slightly more, but everything about them less. So once I read this and kind of started thinking about it, and then I started reading the article, I kind of came to the same conclusion right when they said it in the article, which is basically, well, how could that be? Mm-hmm. And here's the line that I agree with, right? And as a marketer, these are the nuances you have to know when you're writing copy, when you're creating an ad. So they said perhaps there's some psychological dissonance between workers disliking all aspects of their jobs and saying, actually, this is fine. Why would they say that? Inflation or economic insecurity means that having a job that pays the bills, even though it offers little else, is enough for Americans right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So even if you don't like anything, but the economy's tight, you need the money to get the bills paid, you're going to be like, I guess I'll live with this. Right.
Yeah.
And that kind of nuance is important to know if you're writing an ad or anything else, because, if you don't get that last little piece, I'm all right. Then you don't know where to press the pain buttons.
Yep.
Because if you're like, hey, are you not satisfied with your work? Because if you ran across all these other statistics individually and you're like, oh, people are definitely not satisfied with their work, and you try to lead off with that in your messaging, but they're actually feeling like, yeah, actually, I'm pretty satisfied. Like I'm not willing to risk go anywhere else because expenses are so high right now. I can't even risk being out for 2 weeks or 30 days. Right. So I'm going to hold on to what I got. So I just thought it was really
I think the one missing component in this, and this is a telltale sign, but there's no comparison. It's like, compared to what, right?
Well, it's just compared to 2022, right? So if you think about it, 2022 was kind of the year of quiet quitting.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff, right? Everybody was kind of, you were still coming out of the tail end of the pandemic when employees were getting their way. They'd still be remote working and all that kind of stuff. But then as we moved into 2023 last year, everything started getting more expensive and people were starting to get called back to work. And, there's a lot of, you didn't have like the control kind of shifted back to the employers instead of the employees.
That's right.
And you see that pendulum, that swings all the time. So,
yeah. So a lot of those, I think a lot of the COVID money really ran dry, It's like,
all that stuff.
Got to go back to work. I know this because I go to manufacturing plants all the time, and the fact that they were struggling for a while there, a couple of years ago, to get workers, things seem to have kind of, it still fluctuates, but it's not as bad as it was. So it tells me that, people are kind of pressed into going back to work, so to speak. And,
I mean, when everything costs more, you're more grateful for the job that you have typically.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, you'd like to earn more, but the risk of leaving, and even having that because a lot of people are month to month, paycheck to paycheck. And whenever you switch jobs, there's a 2 to 4 week gap where your pays have to kind of catch up. Right.
Right.
or you just were out between the two or whatever. So I think a lot more people are not willing to take those chances, but it's just, it's just a good example of like, it's similar to like the thing I said earlier about, what people say and how they behave is different. This is just people saying two different things.
Yep.
So yeah, it's interesting how we are as humans and some of our thinking, right? So
yep. Completely right.
Yep. So that's all I got.
Good stuff. Well, that's a wrap. Right at almost the 1 hour mark.
Yeah.
We're wrapping up. So it's good stuff. I will say, going back to the Apple, that was a good segue where we went from boredom into talking about that Apple ad, because one thing, you can criticize it all you want to, but it wasn't boring.
No, it was not.
It was not
boring. Engaging. It was like you're trying to figure out what's going on. Why are they crushing this stuff?
That's right.
And they've always been good at that.
Yeah, it was a great example of that chapter on getting your, basically engaging the mind, like engaging your audience.
Even the way they did, like everything had that dystopian look, but then you had the bright paint colors that came out.
Yeah.
Like even that contrast is really well done. So I think if you look at it from the lens of that boredom and getting your mind engaged, there's obviously the ad engaged people because everybody's complaining about it.
Right.
But it got their attention.
Yep.
Right. So
that's all you want. You want eyeballs.
Now, if you could have done that without all the negative connotation, I don't know if it would have been as good or not. You don't know, but it's hard to say on, look, I mean, I know I've written some promotions where, they just bombed and we'd sit around the table and afterwards you're like, oh, of course it bombed. Of course it would. Like you see it so clearly in hindsight.
Right.
So, I mean, I kind of get like it, maybe they didn't think it was going to go that bad, or they're like, some people are going to be upset, but it won't be that many. Right. But obviously they were wrong.
And they'll forget about it. They'll move on.
Yeah. Well, they're already.
I mean, listen.
They're working on promotions 2 years from now at Apple.
Exactly. Not to jump into politics, but Trump's been in a courtroom for the last, I don't know how many weeks, but his poll numbers keep going up. It's like, yeah, it's not great publicity, seeing that you're inside of a courtroom, but hey.
But a lot of that's just,
I guess people, it's people like he's in the news and he's top of mind. So
that, and the, what's the old saying? It's the economy stupid.
It's the economy stupid. Yes.
As long as prices remain high.
Yeah.
He's got a good shot. I don't care who is running against Biden. Yeah. Like when the economy's bad, the sitting president's in a tough spot. Like,
that's right.
Doesn't matter which side it is. Like
that's
people are not going to be
top of the mind.
If their groceries and gas cost more,
yeah,
and their credit cards and everything else, like they're going to take it out on whoever's the incumbent.
That's right.
What was it?
And
Reagan
as you
said?
mentioned, it's the economy stupid.
Yeah,
that was Bill Clinton's
his campaign manager.
James Carville. He came up with that, and boy, was it effective.
Yeah. What was the Reagan thing when he was running against Carter in the debate? He's like, let me just ask you one question. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago?
That's right. Boom.
That was the money line right there.
Another powerful. Yes. Yeah, that was
Trump should be resurrecting that.
That's right. Yeah, I would be using that. I'd be stealing that one every day.
That should be his stump speech for October.
Yeah,
for
sure.
So
be interesting.
All right.
Good stuff. Well, to all of our listeners, you can find us at persuasionbythepint.com. You can find us on all of your channels. We're on Spotify, Stitcher Radio. My video just went off for some reason. And that's weird. Can you see me now?
There we go. I can hear you though.
Yeah. Anyway, there I am. But yeah, you can find us on all your podcast platforms. You can find us now on Rumble. And we're back in the Facebook, back on our Facebook groups. I figured out how to get us streaming there again. We'll figure out the stuff on over at Locals. But thanks for listening. Hopefully you'll leave us 5 reviews if you check it out, if it's your first time, and then Sean, we'll be back on next Friday. I don't know if we'll have a guest or not. We've got some interesting people lined up coming up, and but we don't have a set date yet. So we'll keep you posted.
All right. Sounds good. See ya.
See ya.